Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
You want to hear a couple of real bad groaners this morning? Listen to this. What do you call a dinosaur with an extensive vocabulary? A thesaurus. And this one, I got a job at a bakery because I needed dough. And last but forever least, Velcro. What a ripoff. I love those groaners this morning. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. Here we go with Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning. We need a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance right now. Oh, thank you very much, and good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today, 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You again?
I guess so.
Okay.
It's been one of those weeks.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, I got to tell you, the height of, what is it? It wouldn't be hypocrisy, but I was trying to kill a fly here a few minutes ago, Wheels, in the studio. And I had my fly swatter in my hand, and I was just waiting for him to land on my broadcast table.
Was it one of those Unabomber flies?
No, but he landed on the fly swatter. So how can you kill him when he lands on the fly swatter?
I guess he's trying to intimidate me.
Intimidate me? He's got me just totally flummoxed this morning. Anyway, good morning, everybody. What's that?
He was saying that you can't kill him with the fly swatter.
I didn't. Anyway, it's time for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Ooh, look for that blue door. Carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. My goodness, these are good folks. Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now, here's the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we saddle up for another day. And today's going to be all right. Tomorrow and for the weekend, not so much. Here's your weather forecast for today. Looks like mostly cloudy skies. High of 70. We are expecting an overnight low of 51. Now, tomorrow the winds are going to be picking up to about 16 miles an hour out of the southwest. Afternoon rain showers expected for tomorrow, about a 70% chance. High at 57 with an overnight low of 46. For Saturday, it's going to be cloudy, still on the windy side. High of 61, overnight low of 48. Sunday and Monday, rain showers. Plus, it is going to be windy. We've got a storm front moving in. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-50s for Sunday and Monday. Yesterday's high was 61. The overnight low was 29. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. Don't forget, at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, if you're needing a few finishing touches to your home decor before the holidays, which are right around the corner, you look, there they are. And check out Cheney Flooring and Home Design for their latest fall and winter decor. And they're having a big discount sale right now for this month of October. At Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Hey, Merv May, come on in here. Let's sell some cattle. What do you say?
He gets the steer calves. They're here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.
Oh, my goodness. That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer at Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Sale number to call for consignments or information, 678-9411. And Merv May, Cade Rogge, Lance Udy, the whole crew serving you. Sale time today at 10:30. 10:30. Here's kind of a partial list of what's going through the ring today, boys and girls. Kirk and Sherry Southern, good people out at Sublet. They're bringing in 106 head of ripping good calves. Pecos Palmer, I love that name, up at Richfield. 25 head of steers weighing 500 to 600 pounds. Wes Goff, hello to Wes and his mother, Rosa. I think she is one of the most wonderful people in the whole wide world. Over in Rupert, bringing in 16 head of 800-pound heifers. Butcher cows coming in from the Shoulder 3 Ranch over in Oakley, Acme Dairy, TLK Dairy, and Oak Valley Dairies, bringing in 50 head of heifers weighing about 700 to 900 pounds. Sale time at 10:30 this morning at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411. Remember, sale time at 10:30 today, and right now, Merv, sell those steers.
All right, he gets the steer calves. They're here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and I selling $35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
Amen. I'll tell you what, I'd be tickled to get that right now. Anyway, you be sure and go to the sale today, this morning at 10:30. We have a lot of things going on today. We're going to have, of course, our chamber report, Denny's football trivia contest, where you might win an original Grand Slam breakfast from Denny's. That's coming up at 9:12. Dog Nation, followed by Rita. And then don't forget, we got a couple of real interesting folks coming up, too, in the latter hours. We're going to have the drama teacher from Burley High School on at 10:10, and then Dr. Christine Pickup. And at 10:32 this morning, this man is committed and said that Donald Trump still, above everything else, will win the presidency, and that's Dr. Gerard Lamero calling in. So it should be really interesting. Don't forget our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. I'll repeat that number, 678-0459, number to call, and they can have whatever you need waiting for you on the counter, unless it's a complete heating outfit. Well, I'll tell you what they are serving you. They've got all your new, clean, fresh furnace filters so your furnace runs efficiently. You heard Gina say it's going to get a little chilly. Well, I'll tell you what, you stop in today where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Hold on, caller, I'm a-coming. Just want to remind you also about Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my gosh, they really are America's diner, the best. 611 Overland in Burley and 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Thomas and the crew, Terry, everybody's so nice and so helpful, and delicious food items, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, anytime, all the time at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. You be listening at 9:12 this morning for our football trivia question. You might win an original Grand Slam breakfast at Denny's. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call.
Good morning, Jeff. You know, yesterday you had mentioned something about an article you'd read or seen about the mice becoming endangered.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the folks out there that have mice and they want to get rid of them, and they don't want to be mean to them or anything, go down to your local drugstore and buy a package of mothballs, and you place them under your house if you have a crawl space. We did that about 3 or 4 years ago, and I haven't seen a mouse since.
I don't want to be kind to any vermin. I want to get rid of them. I will kill anything like that, mice, rats, etc. The story out of Florida is true. We're going to have the lawyer on the program next Monday. It's complete idiocy with the federal government trying to protect vermin over the health and sanctity of people's homes. Don't get me started, Cottam. I'm upset about that enough.
No, I'm not trying to. I'm telling people how they can get rid of them without even worrying about them.
Okay. I'm kidding with you. You have a good day, and don't bring up cats and mice anymore.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Keith. God bless you, man. Thanks. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away, please. I want to remind everybody about Senator Jim Patrick running for re-election for District 25 senatorial seat. Jim is a fifth-generation Magic Valley resident and has served on the JFAC committee and served on the agricultural committees, education, and business committees. This man has done so much to help the state of Idaho, and he wants to keep on helping. Don't forget, vote November 8th for Jim Patrick. Re-elect him for Republican District 25 Senator, paid for by Re-elect Patrick for Senator, Treasurer Jim Patrick. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you this morning?
I'm really frustrated, Tony, because I've been chasing this one fly around my office all morning long, and hold on, Tony. He landed on the transmitter. Hold on. Here he is. I got him. Thank you, Tony. Go ahead.
Use your shotgun.
Don't encourage me.
Well, yesterday when I saw where the Utah Republican Party was not going to, or who's under control of Mitt Romney wasn't going to support Trump, the first name that came to my mind was Benedict Arnold.
Yeah.
And from my history, I remember Benedict Arnold was a good guy at the beginning, but he was a little upset with what was going on in the military, and he went over to the enemy, which was Britain at that time. And I see the same thing happening here with Ryan and the rest of that bunch.
You know, Tony, I was having I got a little feedback there. Wheels, you got to ride the gain a little bit on these calls, please. I was talking to a dear friend before I went on the air this morning about this presidential run and Trump and now the new allegations that are coming up against Trump and how Hillary took a free skate through the ice on the FBI investigation and everything. You know, Tony, honestly, in my lifetime, let me ask you this quickly. In my lifetime, I have never seen politics get this corrupt. Am I missing something?
Absolutely not. This is the dirtiest bunch of people that we've got running the country right now, and they will sell us out for anything that would fill up their coffers.
Yeah.
That's the only way I think I can think of.
Yeah. I just absolutely am very worried. The shortcomings of Trump, the allegations with more women now, 30 years later, making these allegations in the New York Times, printing those, no proof of validation, whatever. It looks like a smear job to me. But, you know, Tony, politics right now is so in the gutter. I think you'll agree with that.
I do, and if Hillary should get in, this country is finished. I give it 2 or 3 years, they'll be broke with all the giveaways and the build-up of the Muslim enemy in this country. We're in serious condition.
I couldn't agree more.
It's about the only guy that's going to save this country for at least another 5 or 10 years. After that, I'm in doubt.
Yeah, all bets are off. Listen, Tony, be sure and be listening at 10:30 this morning for Dr. Gerard Lamero. He's a very well-known political analyst, and we're going to have him on the air at 10:30. I think you'll enjoy what he has to say.
I will.
All right, my friend. God bless you. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, sir. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and, of course, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Listen to this. Listen to this. 0 zero. That means nada, 0% interest on 48 months if you buy any rental Bobcat equipment used. You cannot find a better deal. No, you can't. You get in there today to Berry Equipment and Rental. Equipment rentals, equipment sales, all the equipment you need to get the job done right. South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Real quick, we'll take some more phone calls. Want to remind you, yes, I have people calling saying, are you really going to Burley Rehabilitation? Yes, I am. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Yes, I am twice a week. And I enjoy it. Yes, I do. I'm feeling a lot better. And you can too. It can help you get back to being you. Call them for an appointment today at 678-1191. They are located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Once again, the name, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Nick Greenwell, all the physical therapists, excellent people, nice people, highly trained individuals helping you get back to being you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. All right, now it's your turn. You better believe it. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you, the Black Lives Matter issue, and I don't even want to give it any credence because I don't believe in it, and nobody's going to convince me that I should, is growing like a cancer. And I'm going to give you some examples of how this amoebic cell cancerous approach to hurting the rest of us is growing right after I take this call. Good morning, caller, and thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb, and thank you. I just want to make a comment. Being a woman, the Trump tape didn't really bother me that much. Guys talk. I've heard a lot worse from women talking, but the new, I don't know if you've heard this new news report that there was a woman on an airplane.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many years ago, sitting next to Trump, and he was groping her bosom.
Yeah.
But when he reached down for the JJ, that's where she drew the line. Give me a break.
The graphicity of...
to believe that?
Yeah, the graphicity of what happened, I don't even want to get into on my program. I want to be above that. But I will say this. I mean, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or in a couple of cases, 30 years old allegations, and they're not validated. Okay, this is what it sounds like to me, Donna, and tell me if you think I'm wrong. It sounds to me, and I said this months and months ago, and you and George listen every day, so you know this is true, that the Clintons and the Clinton political machine will never be tarnished because they will make sure with the money they have behind them and the evil behind them, anyway, anyhow, they will pay any amount to make sure that they win at all costs. And I'll guarantee you these last 30-day allegations against Trump and these people all of a sudden say, well, he did this to me. Why in the world with good journalism, didn't this come out in the forefront years ago?
I totally agree with you. And as far as the Clintons go, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw the first stone.
Hillary's got a sandbox full of rocks in her home.
I'm sorry, what?
I said Hillary's got a sandbox full of rocks right inside the living room.
Oh, my gosh. The things that they have done. I mean, it's just amazing that she's allowed to run for public office.
Now, wait a minute. I don't know if you heard this or not, Donna, but this morning it's really becoming apparent. And I've got a news story that Deanne got off the wire from my dear friend Carrie Pickett. She's been on my program many, many times, and she works for the Washington Post and also for the Daily Caller. Here's the headline. Majority of FBI staff on Clinton case wanted her, meaning Hillary, prosecuted. That tells you something, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Anybody else, if that had been anybody else, Republican or Democrat, and both parties have issues, they'd have been in prison.
Yeah.
They would not be allowed to run for office.
Absolutely.
Especially the presidency. But I just wanted to make a comment on this new allegation. It's like me being a woman. If I was sitting on a plane and somebody started groping my bosom, they'd be minus a couple hands.
They might be issued a parachute, and you would open the door.
You're definitely right. They wouldn't get away with it, that's for damn sure.
God bless you. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You betcha. Have a good
All right.
day.
Caller, just a minute. Old Zebra will be right with you. Hang on just a minute. I want to remind everybody about Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup. She's going to be on our program at, let me take a look, 10:23 this morning. And they are the only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare practice in southern Idaho. I urge you to call for a hearing screening today. And they're located right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. The number to call, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, a good day to you. Go ahead.
Well, thank you again. If somebody offered $20,000 to someone to come out against Donald Trump, these people are low enough that they would do that. And I think that's what this woman's done. She has received a bribe from Hillary's campaign to bring this out because they know that there's no way it can be proved one way or the other.
The only thing is, Keith, that's speculation on your and my part. When we say we think this is our opinion, we have no validated proof. And like I said many times on this program, I will offer an opinion, but as far as hard, fast truth, I'm going to check it out until I find out the truth. And I don't go into speculation for these stories. And I think it's totally ridiculous that 30 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever the time frame is, to have it come out now, 27 days from the election, I'm going to raise my eyebrows and call foul.
The problem is, by the time they research this and everything and find out there's no witnesses, there's nothing to do with it. The damage has been done.
Absolutely.
And it's done to Donald Trump, and I just despise people who tell stories like that.
I agree with you, and I thank you for your input on that. I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much, Keith. Thanks.
Thank you.
I want to mention just a little bit, as we're going kind of in a potpourri fashion here this morning, I want to get back to the story that was released this morning on Eastern Time, 7:19. Carrie wrote this story. And I'm just going to read you some of the highlights of this story. The decision at the FBI to not prosecute Hillary Clinton over mishandling of classified information was solely from the top down. No trial level attorney, her quote is, no trial level attorney agreed, no agent working the case agreed with the decision not to prosecute. It was a top down decision, said the source, who is described as an official close to the Clinton case. The FBI official said that Director James Comey's announcement on July 5th angered and disgusted members of the investigative team, which included over 100 FBI agents and analysts who worked overtime with 6 Department of Justice attorneys from the department's National Security Division and Counter-Espionage Section. Woo! It is safe to say that the majority felt she should be prosecuted. And she was not. This is, again, my opinion. That's what this program is. Take it for what it's worth. I honestly think that James Comey had a call. And on that call, whomever said, basically, Mr. Comey, there will be no prosecution of Hillary Clinton. Will there? Think about it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Oh, too, by the way, let me get in my other... These are nice people over at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street in Heyburn. And the slogan, I've said this 1,000 times, but it's really the truth. They have warm hearts for cold noses. And it's mixed animal practice, meaning at Ark Animal Hospital, they can help and restore the health to big animals or the itty-bitty little animals. Yes, sir, they love them all. Don't forget Dr. Bill Fulcher and Dr. Liz Schrepfer and the rest of the crew serving you and your animals, Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. All right, it's your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, don't forget, I got to tell you, too, that on Tuesdays, one of the most listened to segments anywhere, anytime is, of course, Dr. History, and we want to say thanks to Zach and the crew at Minnecasia Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. Number to call, 878-2091. And the cost of metal roofing material going... way up in the air. Now's the time to redo that metal roof before you have to pay an upgraded price. Check it out at Minnecasia Sales. Zach and the folks helping you at 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Excuse the cough. Sagebrush and hay fever season. All right, it's your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I started to tell you a little bit ago about Black Lives Matter. I believe it's a cancer. I believe it's a cancer that's growing and growing and growing. And now it's even being addressed by, and listen to this, the Seattle school teachers have purchased over 700 T-shirts that say Black Lives Matter. And they're going to be wearing them in the classrooms next week to teach about racism. You know, you talk about a tempest in a teapot and how the lid's going to get blown off on this thing. That's all we need. Our 700, in this case, uneducated teachers trying to promote racism, creating more of a divide, creating more dissension, creating more animosity, and they're going to wear these T-shirts in the classroom. And caller, hang on just a minute. I got to get this point in. To go along with this, I refuse in the future to ever buy a gallon or a quart or whatever of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. It will never cross my lips again. They have some outstanding flavors and outstanding tastes. Ben and Jerry's ice cream, owned by two liberal loons, are coming out on their ice cream containers, and they're favoring Black Lives Matter. Many people are outraged, and many people are asking for a boycott. So am I. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, how are you?
Upset?
Hey, I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that because someone needs to be upset. My neighbors need to be upset. The country needs to be upset right now. When you see Black Lives Matter, for instance, funded by Soros, that recent article that's come out, all these articles about Soros, he admits he's a madman. I mean, it doesn't surprise me in the least bit that the FBI doesn't prosecute Hillary Clinton. With all the leaked emails of Hillary Clinton being directly involved in ISIS, I mean, there are huge implications and war crimes committed here, and no one's doing anything about it. None of these people that stood up and took an oath and said that they were going to protect this country are doing it.
Yeah. You know, I'm so frustrated, sir, on this program. I try to put together a good program of interest every day with the best of guests nationwide. Excuse me, we're the only program Excuse me for the cough. We're the only program on the air now that I know in the state of Idaho that has the national guests and everything. But I'm frustrated because sometimes I wonder if I'm not like John the Baptist, just crying a voice in the wilderness that doesn't seem to be doing any good.
You know, Zeb, out of the stew of life, you are the ladle. And I appreciate it.
Well, I thank you for that, and I apologize for the coughing in your ear. That was very rude of me, but I'm going through hay fever season, sir, and I apologize. You are always welcome on this program. Thank you for your call.
Thank you, Zeb.
God bless you. Excuse me for choking on the air. Deanne, help me. I'm croaking over here. I apologize for that, folks. One of the things I tried to do is shut the mic off, but I couldn't get to the microphone button quick enough. Black Lives Matter. Well, what I'm going to do, and I feel urged to do this, is make up some T-shirts that I will have available for sale that say the following: not some, but all lives matter. God bless. My dear friend Nicole over at Mad River Laser, Deanne's in contact with her. I think she sent it already this morning. We're going to make those up. I don't know what we're going to sell them for or anything else, but we're going to try to make those up. I am absolutely incensed. I am crazed by certain groups, certain ethnicities or races trying to elevate themselves above anybody else and say, Black Lives Matter. Sure they do. Of course they do. So do Caucasians. So do Latinos. So do Asians. All lives matter. I absolutely will not elevate anyone over the other. And in adjacency to what we're talking about, listen to this. I just got this yesterday in the mail. And it's at Zeb Bell. It's got my address on it and everything. And I looked up in the left-hand corner of the envelope, and it says, United Negro College Fund, 1805 7th Street, Northwest Washington, D.C. And inside was the solicitation for me to support the United Negro College Fund. Now, I remember vividly when Obama ran the first time for office, and I extensively said that he is half Negro, which he is, and half white, making him a mulatto. And I remember the outcry and the emails and the nastiness that came in from people all over this valley. Caller, hang on just a minute. And attacked me for using what they termed the N-word, which is a proper connotation as to what one of the races of mankind is, a Negro. And now everybody's criticizing me for saying that word, and here is another solicitation, and they make a presumption that I'm going to contribute to their United Negro College Fund, and they already sent a certificate of appreciation presented to Zeb Bell on behalf of every bright young person who will now be able to attend college in recognition of a generous gift to the UNCF, the United Negro College Fund. Sincerely, Dr. Michael Lomax. Well, I'm not contributing. I am so sick and tired of the ambiguity in this country that we're racist if we use the word Negro, but they solicit funds for college under that title. Calm down, Zeb. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. How you doing, Zeb?
Upset as usual.
Hey, it looks like we need to have a T-shirt made up that all Americans' lives matters.
You know, that's true. Americans' lives matter. I like that. Well, actually, I don't want to just make it isolated to us. I think every person on the face of the earth, they have a right to pursue their goals, their happiness, their endeavors. All lives matter. This idiocy of segregating one group and saying Black Lives Matter, we're going to take over a library, or we're going to stop the interstate from having traffic, or we're going to stop the flow of traffic across a bridge. This is asinine.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Well, I appreciate...
As far as James Comey, he's being paid for not indicting Hillary.
Well, I would hope that it's not true, but all indications are that somebody or some group got to him, and we'll let it hang at that. Thank you, sir, very much for your call.
You're welcome.
God bless you, man. Thanks. I don't know. This just infuriates me that, and we've talked about it before. It's not anything really new or earth-shattering about the United Negro College Fund. But, is there a United Caucasian College Fund? No, not to my knowledge. But if I say the word Negro on the radio, they're ready to write all kinds of denigrating stories about me and crucify me with emails and calls that are unknown address, unknown number. But yet, here it is, soliciting for their college fund using the word Negro. It's so ambiguous what's going on and ridiculous today. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget again, while I'm waiting for your call that I hope is coming in this morning, our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, along with Lennox, can offer rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. I say good morning to you, caller. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb. I haven't had a chance to call in this week until now, but I just wanted to weigh in on what you're saying here. Like I say, I think there's a Miss Colored America pageant, Miss Hispanic pageant. So do we have just a Miss Caucasian pageant? I mean, you look at all this stuff where they make exceptions. We're all Americans, but unfortunately the hyphenated Americans is where we're at now, and bringing in the Muslims, they're not going to assimilate. That's a given. But the other thing I wanted to comment on was Crapo and Simpson, the gutless wanders out there. I'm sorry, I just cannot. I guess if they're going to vote for Hillary, because by not supporting Trump, that's really what it amounts to. And I'm sure you discussed this on the program. I just haven't had a chance to listen.
Absolutely.
So I just feel like, they've got to the point where the national media has made this 30 years ago or 10 or 11 or 12 years ago indiscretions by Trump, but we have security issue breaks that happened within the last couple of years but with Secretary Hillary, and now they've got our information. We're pay to play so we can bring in more Muslims or whatever. Hillary's just totally evil, folks. So look past it. Like Jerry Falwell Jr. said, we're not electing a pastor. We're electing a president.
That's right.
And I don't think everybody says, well, we can't vote the lesser two evils. Trump is not evil. I don't think he is evil at all. But Hillary definitely is.
I agree with those comments. And, Adrian, it's good to hear from you. I've got to get to a weather, but absolutely I thank you for your call. It brought up some good points. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Thank you. Caller, real quick, before I go to the weather forecast, go ahead with your call.
Yeah, quick question, Zeb. Why will they allow the Black Lives Matter T-shirts in the school but not the American flag on T-shirts?
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, and thank you for what you just said, because I remember certain instances in schools in California and Oregon, especially around last year in California during Cinco de Mayo Day. The Hispanics wanted to have the Mexican flag flown, and they wanted to wear all this. So some of the American students wore flags with T-shirts, flags on the T-shirts, and they were told to go home and change them because it might incite some kind of fighting or violence. Why in the world do we have to cower or hide our flag in our country?
Exactly. But now, do you think that maybe some people that wear the Black Lives Matter T-shirts, it won't incite some type of riot?
If people would really analyze what Black Lives Matter group is, how they were formed, really what they wanted, the violence behind them, the animosity against the rest of us. How can you support a hate-inspired group like that is beyond me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then, it's teaching us, their kids, some more of the wrong parts of what they want to try to steer our children to be.
How would you like to be a parent in the Seattle area in the next week or so? And your kids come home from school and they say, "Mommy and Daddy, boy, we're really racist, and you've got to apologize, and you and Mom have got to change your ways, because our teacher today stood up in class wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt and told us about all of your shortcomings, and you really should apologize." How would you like that for dissension in the American home?
Well, they would have one hot mama on their hands going into that school system, I can tell you that. I'd probably end up in jail, but...
Well, I respect your attitude. I respect your attitude on this, because I'll tell you what, we got to put our foot down. I am never going to segregate one group over another and say Black Lives Matter or Latino Lives Matter, or even, in fairness, the Caucasian Lives Matter. They all matter. God has given us all blessings of life on this planet, and I absolutely do not put one life over another.
Exactly. We all bleed red.
All right. Thank you very much for your call. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I really do feel that way. What would you say, honestly, as a parent, if your kids came home from school in the Seattle area and they say, "Oh, man, Mom and Dad, you're sitting at the dinner table. We learned today that, boy, what you're doing and how you act, and you need to help pay for some of the reparations to the blacks for what's happened in their history here in this country, and you should really apologize." All this mess, and it is a mess, that the teachers in Seattle are going to stir up by wearing those Black Lives Matter T-shirts in the classroom is absolutely incendiary, and it's going to create more problems. Got to get the weather forecast in here, brought to you by the Urgent Cares. Kyle James and his efficient, well-known, knowledgeable staff. My goodness, minor emergencies, major care. They can take care of you and your family, sprains and breaks and scrapes and cuts and all that kind of stuff. They can help you. Go to their website and find out more. UrgentCareOfIdaho.com. And then, remember, there's 3 in this area to serve you. Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland and Burley. Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls. And Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. And don't forget to go in there and get your flu shot, too, okay? Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we saddle up for another day. And today's going to be all right. Tomorrow and for the weekend, not so much. Here's your weather forecast for today. Looks like mostly cloudy skies, high of 70. We are expecting an overnight low of 51. Now, tomorrow the winds are going to be picking up to about 16 miles an hour out of the southwest. Afternoon rain showers expected for tomorrow, about a 70% chance. High of 57 with an overnight low of 46. For Saturday, it's going to be cloudy, still on the windy side. High of 61, overnight low of 48. Sunday and Monday, rain showers, plus it is going to be windy. We've got a storm front moving in. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-50s for Sunday and Monday. Yesterday's high was 61. The overnight low was 29. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina. Brought to everyone this hour by the Urgent Cares of Idaho, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care in Twin, and Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, I stumbled across a video yesterday that is very, very interesting. And the gentleman's talking about Trump and how he's being humbled, and he feels that God is working with Trump to deliver the America.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. The gentleman's name is Lawrence Whitaker Walnau, Wallnau, last name.
Okay.
He's got a book called God's Chaos Candidate, and it's at godschaoscandidate.com. Very, very interesting.
Tell you what I'm going to do.
It's about Trump, like what happened to Peter.
Yeah.
That Peter fell, and he was more useful to God's message after he fell than before. And Trump, where he owned up, he apologized, he said it was wrong, and he asked for forgiveness. Have you ever heard Hillary ask for forgiveness?
No, and I have heard, though, Doug, something else. I got another call, but I want to get this into you real quick. I've heard a lot of people say, well, like Trump, what a filthy, unorganized, basically very non-decent human being. And I said, wait a minute, whoa, stop for a second. How come you're just taking him to the task and calling him all those names and making those allegations? You know, we're all sinners. And I dare say that you or I cannot bend over and pick up the first rock and throw at somebody else, because he who casts the stone, you better not have any sin in your background. And I know I've got a lot of screen doors that have holes in them in my life, and I think you would say the same of yourself. But I'll guarantee you one thing, to think that Hillary is anywhere unapproachable for all these problems, boy, oh boy, that's what's causing the problem right now.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And one other thing with the New York Times bringing these two ladies out that have 30 years ago, 20-some years ago, why aren't they bringing out the ladies that Bill Clinton abused? Why aren't they standing them up there and bringing them out in the news?
Or all the allegations of shortcomings on Hillary herself about all the making of a tremendous amount of money in the stock market. Gee, do you think maybe she's had some insider information? Or all the shortcomings that she had during her stay in Arkansas? Or some of their land deals? My goodness, the list goes on, but I don't think you've heard a word about that.
No, you haven't, and I'm going to yield over to that next caller, but I have one more analogy this gentleman talked about. He says right now, we have two guns pointed at our head. One of them is locked, loaded, and cocked. And the other one, you spin the barrel like Russian roulette.
I agree.
Pick the one with your best odds.
I agree. Doug, you are always welcome on the program. Thank you, sir.
Okay, God bless.
God bless you. Caller, thank you for your patience. Go ahead quickly, please.
I just want to kind of comment on this Black Lives Matter stuff. These Negroes think they are so put down and so mistreated. You know, I'm part American Indian. And our American Indians, the biggest share of them, are still forced to live on reservations in really bad shape. The biggest share of them are so poor and have no education and have been mistreated much more than the Negro ever thought about being.
Let me...
That's all I have to do.
No, wait a minute. Don't hang up. I want to just say something quick, and I want to get your response. My wife also is part, if you will, American Indian, Cherokee. And I agree with everything you said. I have been of the volition over the many years that I've been in broadcasting, and I want to ask you this. I think that the reservation system, if you will, that the government imposed was actually nothing more than a retardant, if you will, to the tribes, because it took away the incentives. It took away the involvement of trying to get themselves into the communities locally, work hard, and try to progress. I think the government actually hurt them with the programs that they've had. Would you agree with that?
I sure would. My dad was half Choctaw, therefore I'm a quarter, and he was derided by people all his life. He ran away. He ran away from the family that he was adopted by. His own parents had died in a flu epidemic back in the early 1900s, and he was adopted out as a little child, and he ran away when he was 11 and took care of himself for the rest of his life. He was called half-breed and all kinds of things, and he worked like a slave most of his life, I was the first one in my family to graduate from high school. But my dad saw to it I got my education.
All right.
And these Negroes have got nothing to complain about.
Absolutely. I hate to be rude to you, but if you look at your watch, I've got to run to the news right now. But please, I would appreciate if we could do this conversation again another day. Call me back next week. I'd love to visit with you on this.
Thank you.
Oh, God bless you. Nice lady. I didn't mean to cut her off, but I'm running late, and I got to tell everybody about a big fall tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness. Tires on sale like the Eclipse tire for your passenger car or the Open Country MT for your pickups and SUVs. Oh, ho, ho, safe driving. And don't forget, the absolute best in brake service. Professionally trained technicians, the brake industry's best warranty, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. You heard the weather forecast is going to get cooler, cold, actually. And you better have a good battery. You stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. Right now, we're going to head for the news from CBS and come back with the Chamber Report right after the news. God bless. We'll see you in 6 minutes. Oh, my goodness, kind of chilly outside. Deanne just came in, and she was shaking and quivering and saying, "It ain't July anymore." Good morning, everybody. Zev at the Ranch with our major sponsor, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Oh, my goodness, locally owned and operated and always at your disposal. I mean, they really care. We've been on the route service for many years. And absolutely, you can just about set your watch when they're going to be there to pick up the garbage. It's gone. It's out of there. No more worries, mate. You bet, as Crocodile Dundee would say. Well, I'll tell you what, you call them 734-6969. Always at your disposal, Western Waste Services. Want to remind you again about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. And we've mentioned many, many times already that Jim Patrick is running for re-election for the Republican District 25 senatorial seat. Jim is a fifth-generation Magic Valley resident and a nice person. Very knowledgeable. He served on the Agricultural Education and Business Committees and also served on the JFAC Committee and has a really deep understanding of water issues that will help our state of Idaho. Don't forget, on November 8th, vote for Jim Patrick, Republican District 25 Senator, paid for by the Re-elect Patrick for Senate Treasurer Jim Patrick. Well, she's waiting patiently, and I can't wait to hear her voice. Now, last week I got fooled when I said, "Good morning, Kyla, at the Chamber of Commerce." Let's see what kind of luck I got today. Good morning, Kyla, at the Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, Zev. It's me. How are you this morning?
Really good. How are you?
I'm really good, too. I'm really good. It's about 45 degrees, sunny skies, beautiful outside. It definitely feels like fall.
It does, and with all that being said, it leads us into a new chapter of things that are available to do here in the Magic Valley. Tell us about them.
Oh, my goodness. Well, today we are very honored at the Chamber. We are going to be having our monthly Chamber luncheon over at the Drift Inn there in Rupert. Great food. And Kelly Anson, who is both the city administrator for the city of Rupert, as well as District 27 Senator, will be our guest speaker. And we have just had a ton of folks wanting to come out to that, so we encourage everyone to get there early. Lunch starts at noon over at the Drift Inn. And Kelly has a lot to talk about, both in terms of what's going on with the city of Rupert, as well as you were just talking about, lots of legislative issues that are going to be coming down the pipe. And so if you'd like to come, if you're a chamber member, depending on your membership, it's free. If not, it's $12 for lunch. Great opportunity to listen to him speak. It's going to be a great time. And then tomorrow, Zeb, I'd love to see you at this. The chamber ambassadors are hosting the monthly business after hours at our chamber offices, and that will be from 5 to 7 p.m. That is open to the community. Even if you're not a chamber member, we encourage you to stop by, see what's going on. We are located at 1177 7th Avenue in Hayburn, right there next to the Riverside Park. So we would love to see a lot of folks. We've got tons of raffle prizes. We've got food. We've got lots of businesses are going to be there with their own booth to kind of showcase what they've got going on in their stores and businesses. And it should be a wonderful, wonderful time. A couple more things I want to get down the pipe. Of course, the Wilson Theater over in Rupert continues with their production of Murder, Murder, the Villains of Broadway. The Haunted Mansions of Albion are just cruising with so many people visiting up there. And then, of course, if you want to get a little exercise in, the Burley Fire Department will be hosting the 5K Running for Racks. You got to like that name, Running for Racks. Of course, it's raising money for breast cancer awareness. And that will take place, registration 8 to 9 o'clock at Wright Physical Therapy. Then the fun run and walk gets underway at 9 o'clock, and they're over there in Burley.
Holy cow! Did you ever stop once during that and take a deep breath?
I think I did. I don't know. I just knew that I've only got so much time. We've got so much going on. I got to get it all in.
Well, I'm really impressed. You sound like maybe you've been in broadcasting before.
You know, I've dabbled in it a little bit. Yeah, you know that.
Well, Kyla, listen, if they've got more information about what's going on, tell us all the 1,392 ways they can get a hold of the chamber.
Okay, first of all, get online in our events calendar at minnecassachamber.com. You can always give us a call, 679-4793, or please stop by our office. We still have tons of visitors coming in. Lots of folks are, the retired folks are doing the RV travels right now before winter sets in. So stop on by the Visitor Center there at 1177 on 7th Avenue in Hayburn.
You do a wonderful job. God bless you and thank you. And to all the people over the chamber, have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great. You take care, Zeb.
All right, thank you. Lovely lady, Kyla, over at the Minnecassett Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very honored to have her call in and be on our program. I want to remind you, every day on this show, we start the show off with a weather forecast. Usually Gina or Scotty, they do a wonderful comprehensive weather forecast, and it's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Also, want to remind you, of course, dear friends, just absolutely dear friends, and I'm talking about Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, his staff, and man, I tell you what, they just absolutely are there when you need them in the time of a real family emergency, when there's the passing of a loved one. And they can help you with all of the arrangements, and always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down, give them a call, and get the pre-information on funerals that we all should have. 436-5636. 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Really, really nice people. Oh, my goodness. In just a few moments, we're going to give away. As a matter of fact, I think I will do it right this moment. I am going to give away a free original Grand Slam breakfast at Denny's America's Diner if you can come up with the answer to my trivia contest for today. It's an easy one. And here we go. This Chicago Bears running back was known affectionately as the blank from Kansas? Fill in the blank and give me his complete name. This Chicago Bears running back was known affectionately as the blank from Kansas. What was his name? Let's see. This is for first-time winners only for the breakfast. Good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, they hung up, sir.
Well, that was short and sweet. Somebody give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I didn't think that was that hard. It's really a well-known nickname. This Chicago Bears running back was affectionately known as the blank from Kansas. Fill in the blank with his name. What is it? First person to call in with the right answer is going to get the breakfast from Denny's restaurant. Ooh, America's Diner. Well, we're looking at some of the high school games going on this weekend. We see that Burley Bobcats are going to take on Filer. That should be a good game. And Canyon Ridge is going to take on Wood River. Jerome playing Minico, another good game. And Twin Falls is going to play Century. And the Wood River Wolverines are going to be at Canyon Ridge. Did I say that already? If I didn't, I should have. Wait a minute. Yeah, I did. Did I not? Yes. And this list is kind of doubled up sometimes. And also, Buell is going to take on Kimberly. That'll be another good game. Filer Wildcats are going to take on Burley. I think we mentioned that. Gooding Senators are going to take on Wendell. Kimberly's playing Buell. Another good game right there. Declo playing West Side. And moving down a little bit, that Glens Ferry is going to take on Grace. Hagerman Pirates are taking on Murtaugh Hanson. Yeah. And then let's see what else have we got. Oakley's going to play, I think, let me back up just a little bit, Chalice. And I understand that Murtaugh is actually going to be playing Glens Ferry, if I didn't say that. And Shoshone's going to take on Raft River. Those are the games that we have on our schedule. And the schedule looks like a Chinese jigsaw puzzle right now. Do we have any callers? I'm surprised that we haven't had a winner. This Chicago Bears running back, famous NFL Hall of Fame. It was known affectionately as the blank from Kansas. Fill in the blank with his name. Call me at 436-2244. Wow, I'm surprised nobody had the right answer yet. While I am waiting for your call, come on, hurry, I got to get this given away. The Columbus Day Sale continues at your Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. No money down, no interest, 12 months on approved credit, and you can get king mattresses for the price of a queen. You can get a queen mattress for the price of a full. Holy cow, are you saving money? I'll tell you what, you get a hold of them today. Wonderful people, all your furniture needs, whether it's recliners, dining room sets, bedroom sets, all of it right there with Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello. How about Kansas Thomas?
The what?
Kansas Thomas?
Nope, that's not the one I'm looking for. But you haven't given me the full name either, so we'll go to the next caller. Thank you. This Chicago Bears running back was affectionately known as the blank from Kansas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Tornado?
No. Ooh, you're so close, but not a cigar this morning. Thank you very much. I appreciate your call. I want the nickname and his real name, and I'll give you a little hint. The nickname is his first name. So come on, call me. The Chicago Bears running back that was affectionately known as the blank from Kansas. Give me a call quickly at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I only got about a minute or two left. Hurry, call. Come on, look it up. It's easy to think of when you ponder it a little bit. Let's not forget our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 5. And they remind us that the snow is coming. And they've got your brand new snowmobiles over there. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. They're getting new snowmobiles at the store every day. The new Maverick X3. They've got the side-by-sides. Oh, my goodness. You better get in there today and check them out. And great closeout prices on the 2016 models at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Caller, go ahead. Good morning. You're on the air.
The Gale Sayers from Kansas.
Who is this?
This is Steve.
Steve who?
Porix.
Spell your last name for me, would you, sir?
Porix.
Well, Steve, I hope you like to eat a good, big, original, grand slam breakfast from Denny's, America's Restaurant. It is the Gale from Kansas, Gale Sayers, one of the most outstanding running backs ever in the NFL. You are the winner. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks.
Just go in there and tell him your name, and we'll have it on the list. Okay, Steve?
You got it.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Steve Porix, the winner, the Gale from Kansas. He was something else. I mean, he looked like a kind of a back door, screen door, unhinged. I mean, he'd give you a leg over here and give you an arm over there, and then he'd vault over you. The Gale from Kansas, Gale Sayers. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to also remind you, as I'm in a hurry-up half hour here, Cameron and Siemens, Highway 24 in Rupert. You know what? You want to work with people that care. You want to work with people that are dedicated, and you want to work with people that really know what in the dickens they're doing, and they can help you. And that's Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this for you, your family, and your business, okay? Give them a call. Make an appointment, 436-4424. 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Yep. Highway 24 in Rupert, serving you. Excuse me for that cough again. I do apologize. As I think, where'd all these dogs come from, Wheels? They're all over the place here this morning. Got a Dachshund over here, and we got a Pyrenees over here. Holy mackerel. Where in the world is Ken Mort, Minidoka Animal Control? He can catch them. Good morning, Kenneth.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
Do you have allergies?
Yes, I do.
Are you bothered by the sagebrush and everything like I am?
I am. Matter of fact, last Saturday we took the kids out to the Burley straw maze.
Yeah.
We got lost in that straw maze for a good hour, and from the amount of dust and straw dust and everything that was in there, it really took an effect on my allergies. I mean, I was starting to hurt to breathe and everything. So,
you know, at this time of the year, when that sagebrush starts to turn and get a little yellow with that powdery and everything, oh man, yours truly. I look like a gunslinger in the Old West, but in both holsters, I've got handkerchiefs.
I believe that. I wound up carrying a lot of Halls this time of year just for the mentholatum and that to help keep my sinuses clear.
I agree. Okay, now that we've talked about our misery with allergies, what's going on in the world of dogs?
Well, today we want to feature Tina.
Tina?
She is about a 5-year-old female Chihuahua. She's tan with some white highlights. Just a little girl. She only weighs 4 pounds, 12 ounces.
Wow.
Just a small one. She really loves people, loves being held and cuddled. I mean, just would make somebody a great lap dog for cuddling and everything. So anybody's interested in her, they can contact our facility at 438-2200 or contact me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
A Chihuahua.
A Chihuahua.
Where did that name come from?
Actually, I know it's out of Mexico. And I'm not exactly sure how they come up with it, but it actually fits them. I mean, the Ay Chihuahua.
Ay Chihuahua!
That's probably how they got their name and stuff, and that little one bit somebody, and that's how they come up with the name.
Yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to bite your little toe at the ankle or something? I mean, come on. Those things can't... They're just like the size of a little teacup, aren't they?
Well, yeah, some of them are. They've got some of the bigger ones on it, but I mean, they've actually been bit by more Chihuahuas doing this job than I have any other dog.
And you were the one that instigated the phrase after being bit, "Ay, Chihuahua!"
Pretty much.
Yeah, or whatever. Remember, don't lie, because I used to be your baseball coach. What else is cooking over there?
Also want to remind everybody we're still doing our shoe drive up through Thanksgiving. We are collecting shoes at several different locations, and these shoes are going to this company's purchasing these shoes from us, which is going to help us with paying for our vet care, our spay and neuter program, and help them with getting animals transported to their new homes, stuff like that. So if anybody has some slightly worn, used, or some new shoes that they are wanting to donate, they can donate at Wayside Cafe. They can Ridley's in Rupert, Valleywide Co-op in Rupert, D.L. Evans Bank in North Burley, there by Walmart, Cal Ranch, IBF in Burley, Ark Animal Hospital, Animal Medical Clinic. Trying to remember everybody. Oh, the Rupert City Hall, the Hayburn City Hall, also Swenson's Market in Paul, and then also at the Ace Hardwares in Hagerman, Shoshone, and Gooding.
Wow. Holy cow. You know, I hate to bring this up, but I've got to, because it bothers me. Actually, it makes me very, very mad. The other day, going to town, we saw not one, but two dogs, and they're off on the side of the road, and they were probably 3-4 miles apart, and one was a black lab that had a collar on, and just sitting there. And it was so sad. I mean, sitting at the side of the road just looking at traffic, and another dog was kind of wandering around out there, and I'll bet you dollars to donuts that those dogs were just dropped off, and that makes me furious.
It does. It makes us furious as well, especially this time of year with all the farm equipment out there. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that when they drop these dogs off or dump these dogs out in the country, in the middle of nowhere, that they're not used to having to fend for themselves, so it's harder for them to survive. But then it also makes it harder for us to be able to catch, because once they realize that they've been dumped and been there for a couple of days, they don't want nothing to do with getting near anybody, because they've been hurt by a person.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's better off to take them to your local animal shelter or pound, Annette, so that they've at least got somewhat of a fighting chance before they have a long-lasting life.
Well, and you know, like the one dog was sitting there in the barrel pit, just sitting there, watching the cars go by. I'll tell you what, it was so sad that if I didn't have more than enough dogs here already, I would have stopped and tried to coerce the dog to come into the pickup and everything. Man, I tell you what, that dog looked like a beautiful dog, and he was looking for his master return. That's a lot of sadness right there.
It is, and I know also, Annette, that there's a lot of people out there that they travel with their dogs in the back of their trucks and everything. When they stop, sometimes they'll bail out and everything. So I need to remind everybody to make sure that they tether their pets inside the back of their vehicles so that they don't lose them. They don't have them bail out and then try to figure out where they lost them at. And plus, it's also a safety feature or safety fact for them to tether their animal into the back, just for the simple fact is if they're driving down the road and the dog bails out, the dog's not going to get injured.
Absolutely. Please tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and any others with Minidoka Animal Control.
Well, they can reach our facility at 438-2200. You can reach me on my cell phone at 670-7268, or Deb Hines with Hayburn's Animal Control at 670-4348.
Okay, one last time. Say, "Ay, Chihuahua!"
Ay, Chihuahua!
Oh, my goodness. Take a pill for that, Ken. It'll help. Anyway, have a good day.
You too, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Ken Moore at Minidoka Animal Control. Where'd all these dogs come from?
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
like that guy. He's been a friend of mine for many years. Ken Moore, thank you very much. Hey, don't forget Jack Johnson running for Twin Falls County Commissioner, District 3. He wants your vote November 8th. He will be responsive to your needs, and he wants to have a balanced approach to economic and agricultural needs for District 3 in Twin Falls County, and also wants to enhance mental health assistance to veterans. Please remember Jack Johnson running for Twin Falls County Commissioner, District 3, paid for by Darren Kyle, Treasurer. And real quick, don't forget our friends at Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 336 South, 450 West of Paul. Number to call, 431-8733. Still time to get those trees trimmed and pruned. Still time to maybe get that sod installed. Still time to maybe put in a new sprinkler system, but you better hurry. Call them at 431-8733. Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service, 431-8733. Holy cow, look what time it is, through a hoarse throat. It's time to visit with my dear friend Rita Ramsey. Good morning, Rita. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, except for a little frog in my throat, I apologize. I don't even know where to start with you, lady, because there's about 9,000 things to talk about this morning. Let's go right to the number one story, I guess, in politics for America. More of a meltdown situation for the Trump campaign with allegations. That's what they are, allegations. What are your thoughts?
I think if everybody would just ignore all of that, they would start going away. It's because you've got all kinds of people, newspapers, media, saying, oh, there's this and that, and somebody said, and most of them don't even turn out to be anything.
Yeah.
We're beyond the point of whatever has happened. I mean, we're down to 3 weeks to voting day, so I feel like that Trump is not the one that needs to be there, but at this point, we don't have a choice. He's the one that we have, either him or Hillary. And there's a couple of others out there that may be making a little bit of headway, but it's going to come down to one of the two of them.
Let me say this, and I am not trying to minimize anything that is going to or has been proven true. I absolutely feel that the media, and it's proven, you know that as well as I do, whether it's the New York Times, whether it's NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, I should say, or CNN, doesn't make any difference. The media really has taken a warrior stance against Donald Trump. On the same pedestal, they put Hillary to a point where she is deemed untouchable. That is grossly against anything that journalism stands for.
Well, it really is, and the sad part of it is that you can't get the Republican people to get up and stand up or rally around their candidate, no matter who it is. And yet the Democrats, you can have people who have, been questioned on whether they've even been involved with nefarious things like murder and insider trading and stuff like that, and nobody will ever say anything. Now, if you can take, and this is a quote from Rush Limbaugh, somebody like Mitt Romney, who is one of the most moral, good, kind, outstanding people in the whole world, and they can make him out to be a criminal. Look what they can do to somebody like Trump that is just pretty flawed.
Well,
so it doesn't really matter who it is. They'll do what they want unless everybody gets up and stands up against them and says, you know what, we don't really care about that. We're going to grasp even tighter. That's what you get. And this is why Hillary is doing okay, is because those people who are on that side of the aisle, they just absolutely don't give one care as to what has happened, what has been happening, what has happened in the past. That for 30 years she has been on this social train of we're going to change America over to socialism and I'm going to be in charge. And that's really been her thing. people stand up and say, I'm with you on that, I'm with you on that, and we don't care what she's done or what somebody said she's done or what she might do.
Well, let's back up a little bit here, Rita. And you being a news junkie like I am, and I mean that out of respect, you remember vividly when John McCain was running for president. And you remember the innuendos from the New York Times and other liberal biased journalists that came out and tried to distort his campaign at the last couple of weeks regarding a possible and alleged affair that proved untrustworthy and untrue. But once the allegation's made, it's too late to have an eraser go in and clean it up. And that is what's happening with Donald Trump.
Well, they always have an eraser, and it's on about the 76th page in a little tiny 2x2 thing saying, oh, you know, the allegations made on such and such a date we retract. And that's all they say. And that's supposed to be their apology. But that's the way that they totally damage somebody. And when people will, you know, go in with their mindset of saying, you know what, this is who I'm going to go for, and I don't really care what's happened, you're going to get just whatever you vote for. And instead of knowing, and it's too bad that we have somebody like Trump. This was who the media wanted from the very beginning, because Trump had the most baggage and the most crap and the most things that they could throw at him. And they had 40 years worth of stuff, and it's coming out, and this was their plan all along. So, you know, we got what we asked for.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I take a little bit of maybe a different opinion somewhat on placing blame. I'm going to throw this at you. I really am going to blame the National Republican Party. They knew 4 years ago that they had better start grooming someone and really promoting someone and educating someone that could be their staff bearer, hopefully to go all the way through the preliminaries and emerge as a really good candidate. And they dropped the ball.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've had several conversations with others and with myself on that one. The Senate and the Congress, the Republicans, none of them give one whit of care whether they're in power or not. First of all, if they're in power, they have responsibility to their constituents. Second of all, why would they care whether they're in power or not, as long as they can keep stuffing money into their pockets from the lobbyists? That's what it's all about. Just let me keep my seat so I can keep the money rolling in. I don't care whether I'm part of the minority or the majority. They don't even care. Mitch McConnell doesn't care whether he's the majority leader. In fact, he'd probably rather not be, because he has more arrows after him because he's a majority leader. But they don't care whether they're in the majority or not, and can make decisions and can have a little bit of control. We've seen that with Obama. They've done absolutely nothing. And it's all because they can put money in their pocket, they can keep their seat, and it doesn't matter whether their party's in power or not, just so I can keep my seat. That's what it's all about. They don't care whether they're in the White House or not. That's just an excuse so that they didn't have to answer why they weren't going against Obama.
So you agree with me?
Absolutely.
You know, Rita, it's sad. I mean, it's really, really sad when you look at Trump. Yeah, he's got 1,000 shortcomings. Yeah, he's abrasive. Yeah, he's very ego-centered. Yeah, he's done this and that and the other thing. But whoa, stop the bus for a minute. Let's talk about the Clinton machine, the Clinton power, the devastating Clinton effects on other politicians that might stand in their way. Let's talk about Arkansas land deals. Let's talk about fraudulent stock markets, so that maybe with some insider trading she can invest a little and come out with a bundle. Let's talk about all the things about higher taxes. Let's talk about this absolutely ridiculous green energy program, or saddling up with Islam, or more refugees, 6 times the amount going into all the areas of the United States, lost jobs, Obamacare, carbon taxes. How in the world can the media and journalists overlook this, as this woman is using that for her platform? They
never have, and it's because it was on the right side of the aisle. that was on the Democrat side, and that's who they support, and that's who they go for all the time. And so anything that's over there, they put their blinders on and they look the other direction. I would dare bet money that if you got one of them in a this is a off-the-record thing and you really talk to them, in the end you'd find out that they find it reprehensible. But in order to keep their job and to be where they're at and stay where they're at, they have to just go along. It's just that this is what I have to do to play. It's pay to play, and that's what our country has come down to. Hillary Clinton did that with her Clinton Foundation, so she's got access or given access to anybody who has enough money, and it doesn't matter what, and that will continue on in the presidency. And it's really sad because the news media, the majority of them, and I'm not putting everyone in this category, but the majority of them are in for the liberal side. They don't want people who have common sense. Common sense doesn't sell stories. The problem is that they're helping with the destruction of our country, and it's going to be one of those kind of things that we're just going down further and further and further until we're going to have no country at all. And I would be surprised if we end up with a Republican Party if the Republicans don't win this time. I think the party itself will collapse.
I agree. You know, I was sitting here the first hour, and I was appalled as a friend of mine in Washington, D.C., that writes for, and she's conservative, writes for the Washington Post, Carrie Pickett. And she had a story that she sent out late yesterday afternoon, early this morning. And the headline was, FBI source, a majority of the staff on the Clinton case wanted her prosecuted. And then the gist of the story is, all these agents, over 100 FBI agents and analysts, have said that Hillary should be indicted. She's guilty as sin. But from the top down, James Comey, oops, we're not going to do anything. She didn't do anything illegal. Does that maybe insinuate to you, Rita, my dear lady, that maybe there was a call at 11:30 at night and James Comey answered the phone and the voice on the other end said, I don't think it would be in your best interest to prosecute Hillary?
Well, it makes me wonder if he wasn't on board the whole time, because with the Justice Department and the way that they've done all of the things through the whole Obama administration, this was just another of a number of them. The FBI could have been investigating the Fast and Furious and whatever came of that. You know, the Justice Department squelched everything, and we know that came from right at the very top. And so, no, it doesn't surprise me that he would be in the tank for him, and I think that it was early on. I think that it was early on. Don't aggressively look at this. Don't do anything. Just, if you want to keep your standing and basically stay alive, just kind of float.
I agree. I want to get into another topic here, and we'll have to break in just a couple of minutes for a weather forecast. Tell you what, I'll do the break early on the weather. I want to talk to you about something that just makes me angry every day, and I want you to think about Black Lives Matter. We'll come back to Rita in just a moment. Right now, our weather this hour is brought to you by Pope, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company CPAs. Curtis Pope, Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, Lyden Crane. I'll tell you what, they've been providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years. Tax return preparation, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. 2 locations to serve you, 1710 Overland in Burley and 620 Fifth Street in Rupert. I'm telling you what, it's getting close to the end of the year. It's getting close to what you owe or don't owe and how you're going to protect your money. Work with the best. We do. Pope, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company CPAs. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast as we saddle up for another day. And today's going to be all right. Tomorrow and for the weekend, not so much. Here's your weather forecast for today. Looks like mostly cloudy skies. High of 70. We are expecting an overnight low of 51. Now, tomorrow the winds are going to be picking up to about 16 miles an hour out of the southwest. Afternoon rain showers expected for tomorrow, about a 70% chance. High at 57 with an overnight low of 46. For Saturday, it's going to be cloudy, still on the windy side. High at 61, overnight low of 48. Sunday and Monday, rain showers. Plus, it is going to be windy. We've got a storm front moving in. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-50s for Sunday and Monday. Yesterday's high was 61. The overnight low was 29. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. I appreciate it. And this weather this hour brought to you by Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company, CPAs, Curtis Pope, Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, and Lyden Crane, serving you with the best of CPA knowledge. And you be sure and get a hold of them today. Rita, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not trying to be anything except, to me, all lives matter. And I am absolutely incensed that one race of people or a certain group would try to portray themselves as downtrodden and diminished, that their lives are worth more than anybody else. And last hour, I had a story about how Black Lives Matter now has infiltrated the teachers union in Seattle. They are going to, next week, 700 teachers are going to be wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts in the classroom so they can teach these students about racism. All it's going to do is create more of a cancerous growth. That's my opinion. What's yours?
Well, it is, and unless the parents actually take their responsibility seriously as parents and go in and say, you know what, this doesn't need to have anything to do with school, and just drop it, just put it out of there. They've done that with numbers of things, so we know they can do it. They've taken any kind of, we can't have prayer, we can't even carry a Bible into the school because it may start the school on fire. They can do anything that they want to, and so there is a responsibility of the parents, and it would work if they would go in and say, you know what, that has no place in the schools, period. Doesn't matter who it is. We're done. You don't need to do it. And if they would go after their school administrators, and if there were enough parents that did that, they would agree with them and wholeheartedly probably say, now we have a reason to tell them we're not going to mess with this.
Absolutely.
It all has to do with people jumping up and saying, I'm not going to put up with it any longer. As long as people will put up with it, they'll just keep steamrolling over, and then they'll have their own way and can do whatever they want.
But there are always these people, these race baiters and haters. I don't care if it's Jesse Jackson. I don't care if it's Al Sharpton. The list goes on and on, but it also goes to ice cream. Ben and Jerry's ice cream is going to start putting a label on all their containers in favor of and supporting Black Lives Matter. And people are outraged over this, and many people are going to boycott their product, including myself. I think this is just adding to the divisiveness of this nation.
Well, it is, and like I said, people have got to just start standing up and saying, you know what? We're not going to mess with that anymore. The end. It's over with, and be done with it. And if Ben and Jerry's want to do that and support them and put their name out there, they're going to find out that it will backfire on them, kind of like Target. You know how Target's backpedaling now?
Yep.
Because they found out there were a darn lot of people that said, I'm not going to put up with that. Sunday night football's another one.
Yep.
Monday night football, all the football. Nobody's getting the kind of ratings that they were wanting out of football, and it's because people have said, we're just not going to put up with it.
Absolutely.
And money speaks, and us as individuals, we speak when we buy stuff or support stuff, and as long as we're willing to speak up by saying, I'm not going to buy another thing from Target, or I'm not going to buy another Ben & Jerry ice cream, or I'm not going to do this or that or the other, and you go to your local school district and say, this is not something that we will tolerate. It needs to be finished. But you've got to have big voices. I can't do it on my own. I would have to have a number of people that would be willing to go to them and say, this is what we expect.
Absolutely. We're talking about schools, and we're talking about the insanity of these teachers in Seattle. I've got to throw a couple of these higher education stories out to you and get your response. The University of Florida, the Gators, have set up a hotline number to call if you or I or anyone else is offended by someone's Halloween costume. They're supposed to call the hotline number, and then people that represent the college will take care of in addressing the problem. What in the world is this craziness?
It is so ridiculous that you just can't even believe it. You know, why won't we stand up for the Constitution and our Bill of Rights and saying, you know what, I can say what I want, where I want. There are no safe zones. You can say what you want, but that doesn't mean we all have to agree and be done with it. And it's that with all of it. It's just ridiculous that we're letting this get so out of hand.
Yeah, Rita, you have probably different ideals and goals and thoughts and whatever, like I do. Everybody does. But where do you draw the line on somebody possibly being offended? I mean, do you cancel this event? Somebody got offended. Well, then let's try this event. Oh, no, you can't do that. Another person called in. They're offended. There is no limit to somebody being offended.
Well, there's a lot of people that are just standing out there waiting to become offended on anything. And so basically it's like, if you want to do that, go ahead. And people who don't want to participate, they won't. And you'll find out that you have very little support. If tons and tons of people show up, I guess that shows that you've got support. You have the right to do that. They can do whatever they want, and if they start finding out that they're not having enough people to do, to make any difference, then it'll just kind of die out, and that's their choice.
I got to ask you before we run out of time, and I've only got 2 minutes left. Weren't you just absolutely thrilled? Didn't you feel a chill? Didn't you get goosebumples knowing that Al Gore was coming out of retirement to help support Hillary in designing a climate change that would work for America?
I'll tell you something that should make us all just a little bit scared, and that also tells you that Hillary is, and she said, one of the things that's really worse than anything else is we're worried about climate change, and that should be our number one thing. Obama has said that over and over again. He's trying to get people to understand that that's important. That is not important. That's just pumping money into their pockets, and that's what it's all about.
We've got a quick call, and caller, it's got to be quick. I'm running out of time. Fast, go ahead.
It is quick. Why don't they just take offend out of the English language? They're trying to eliminate so many other things. Take offend out, because nobody should be offended by anything like that.
That's a good thought. The allowing of being offended is open and available to everybody, but you can't keep taking a singular voice and stopping everything. And Rita, that's really what it amounts to. One person can complain and all of a sudden they shut down major events.
Well, that's absolutely right. And people can choose to be offended or not. And if they want to have a big enough group that will shut down things, I guess that's the people who are putting on that event. But I think that it just needs to be, you know what, if that's what you believe, fine, that's good, but we're still going to go ahead and do what we do, and you nor anybody else is going to cause us to shut it down because you believe different than
Absolutely. Real quick, what's going on with the Tea Party? I got a minute left.
Well, we have our Tea Party meeting tonight. Anthony Tompkins, who is a Constitution Party candidate running against Mike Simpson for our district, is going to be there. And then we're going to go over the issues of the election, Idaho's Constitution. Do we need the HJR 5? And then I've got sample ballots and stuff. So we're going to just kind of get geared up for the election, and we've got a visitor that's going to come and tell us why he would like to be the person to represent the 2nd Congressional District in our area.
And Rita, I always appreciate your comments on Thursdays. God bless you, Rita Ramsey. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Rita Ramsey and our political overview for the past week. Thank you very much. I'm so hungry right now. I know you know what's coming. I'm starving to death. I know some great places to go for lunch today. Let me share them with you. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, listen to this. A pumpkin or marshmallow shake or a black raspberry shake. Oh, with a chicken fried steak sandwich and fries and special sauce. Oh, fantabulous. Stop into the AC Drive-In 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about this one? Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. They've got the new pork burritos with beans and pork and rice and sour cream and cheese. Oh, my. That sounds really good. Along with a pumpkin empanada. Dynamite. Great eating at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's move over. I'm drooling. I'm so hungry. Let's move over to Burgers, Etc. in Rupert and Burley. 124 South Oneida in Rupert, 700 Overland in Burley. Corn dogs and burritos, only 99 cents after 3 p.m. Holy buckets. And don't forget, it's that time of the year. Soup is coming soon to Burgers, Etc. Different soup. Oh, it's delicious. They do a fantastic job. And every Sunday at the Burley store, shrimp dinner special at Burgers, Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Well, how about we move on over to El Caporal, 610 Overland and Burley. I love their burritos. And you can celebrate with the lunch, dinner, drinks, parties, whatever, and they're open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 10, open Sunday, 9:30 to 9. If you're dining on a budget, that's the place to go. El Caporal, 610 Overland in Burley. And Steve-O's, oh my goodness, always great food, the way you like it, at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. They've got the buffalo burgers made with real buffalo and soups, all kinds of different soups and new desserts. Oh my goodness. Fresh hand-cut fries, friendly service. What are you waiting for? Go to Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. And last but not least, I'll guarantee you I love pizza. Well, you'll love Pooter's Pizza at 725 Minidoka Avenue in Burley. You better believe it. Inside the Snake River Bowl, you can book your holiday party now at Pooter's Pizza. And don't forget, along with the great pizzas, they've got huge hand-pressed burgers and delicious oven-baked sandwiches. Wow. And they deliver within a 10-mile radius. You're going to love Pooter's Pizza, 725 Minidoka Avenue in Burley. And those are just a few great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. And I am. Holy cow, that sounds good. Coming up next hour, we have Cassia County School Days. And we're going to be talking to Lance Jones, the Burley High School drama teacher. To be or not to be? Well, he'll answer that question. Then we'll have a visit with Mount Harrison Audiology, Dr. Christine Pickup. And then at 10:30, don't miss Dr. Gerard Lamero from back east. He's written many books, and he still thinks that Trump can win the election, so don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch, we'll turn it over to Wheels for a few minutes. We'll be right back. Oh, here we go into hour number 3. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, of course, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and, of course, some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call them at 734-6969. Old Wheels is running the board over at the station, doing a great job, and it takes a team effort, and we appreciate everything that he does. Don't forget, too, that Jim Patrick is running for re-election for the Republican District 25 senatorial seat, so be sure and vote November 8th. This man has a complete understanding of all the water issues for the state of Idaho. He served on the Agricultural, Education, and Business Committees and also served on the JFAC Committee. And I'll tell you what, he is involved in the community. Don't forget to vote for Jim Patrick. Re-elect him for Republican District 25 Senator and paid for by the Re-elect Patrick for Senate Treasurer Jim Patrick. Also want to remind you, too, about Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call this number, 678-0459, and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric, along with Lennox, can save you money. I want to take just a moment here before we get to our next program segment, and I want to remind everybody about something that's very, very special and dear to me, and it is the Senior Junction Pumpkin Function. I have been, for about the last 15, 16 years, very supportive of the seniors and the Meals on Wheels program. And on October 27th, they're going to have a great big pumpkin function. They're going to have a breakfast from 7 in the morning till 10, and I mean a big, delicious breakfast. And I would love to have all you folks come down there. It's only going to be, I think, about $5. My goodness sakes, delicious food. They're going to have costume contests, dress up in the Halloween costumes, and they're going to have carved and painted pumpkin contests, and they're going to have crepe candy for sale for Halloween. This is the most innovative, fun idea I've ever seen. And don't forget, T-shirts are on sale commemorating the Senior Junction Pumpkin Function, and that is October 27th. And all the net proceeds go to the Meals on Wheels. Now, if you're not familiar with what the Meals on Wheels is, I don't have a lot of time now to really get into and explain, but I will just say it's people helping seniors that are shut-ins, can't get out, don't have a chance to get around and get their meals the way you and I do, and it's a great, great program to make sure they get the right nutrition. Meals on Wheels. And so I urge you to be in attendance on October 27th, excuse me, the Senior Junction Pumpkin Function. Thank you very much, at the Senior Junction, 2421 Overland in Burley. Right now it's time for our Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by two wonderful sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, with all kinds of jeans for the boys and the girls, hundreds of jeans, and they've got all the new winter coats that have arrived. Stay warm. Oh my goodness. Layaways and free gift wrapping. You be sure and stop in today to A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also the Ambulatory Surgery Center. Excuse me for the frog in my throat. Ambulatory Surgery Center right across from the hospital, and they can help you with all your outpatient surgeries, and believe me, save you money. Things like colonoscopies and cataract surgery, and they're now the only place in southern Idaho for glaucoma surgery. You call them and find out more. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, along with the Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. And right now we're going to be visiting with the Burley High School drama teacher, to be or not to be, Lance Jones. Good morning, Lance. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I understand you had the wrong day yesterday.
I did. I got a little confused with all my schools and classrooms, and I kind of went into a little panic and was thinking I was going to miss you yesterday.
Well, you talk about panic. When Deanne handed me a note and said Lance Jones wants on the radio now, I thought, no, he doesn't. He's on tomorrow.
Creating a little drama from the drama department.
There you go. Okay, tell us a little bit about what you do. I mean, a lot of people say drama department. What do they do? Stand up in front of the classroom and read Shakespeare? Give us a little analysis there.
Yeah, we're going through that. I've been very fortunate to have a great variety of classes, all the way from theater appreciation, which goes into theater history going back to the Roman and Greek and Renaissance, medieval times, into drama classes where we break down, the sections of comedy to drama. We do a lot of improv. We get in front of the classroom and we express, our thoughts and our feelings, and we do a lot of writing too, and we do some script work. Right now, we're busy in drama class, studying the works of Tennessee Williams and reading Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and the kids are really getting into it. So it's a lot of fun.
As a teacher, how many years have you been doing the drama class?
This would be my 7th year.
7th year. And were you the kind of a guy that wanted to be a Leonardo DiCaprio or a Matt Damon or somebody? Did you want to get into acting?
I did. I taught 6 years of drama up in Salmon, Idaho, and then I moved to L.A. back in 1999, and I worked for Universal Studios and was an actor. Still as an actor, I am an actor down in L.A. for all those 16 years, and been very fortunate enough to work on a lot of great film and television shows. And as I was touring around doing master classes at different universities, I got drugged back into teaching because I think it's just so important to educate not only stage production but also the film and television side of drama. And even if students aren't wanting to go into the acting world, there's also the tech world dealing with building flats and sets and makeup design and sound design. And in many cases, a lot of kids take drama classes because they want to get over their fears of speaking in public and to help out with the interview process if they're applying for jobs. So
Absolutely.
it's really beneficial for a lot of people.
Absolutely. You and I will have to compare notes sometime. I've been in 6 major movies, and I've done 2 television shows and everything. And quite frankly, I did not take the drama classes in high school. I wished I would have, but I didn't. And I guess I was kind of a natural at certain things regarding drama and being in the movies and voice and that type of work. But not only was it a lot of fun, but it opened up a lot of doors of opportunity for me in my other businesses. So like you said very eloquently, there's a lot of opportunity out there by taking a drama class.
Exactly, yeah. And a lot of kids, like I said before, they don't want to act and they don't want to be a part of the theater or television, but they want to get over their fears of, speaking publicly. And at some point, everybody at some time, does that. It could be at a small group of people or a large group. And, I'm a firm believer in the more you do, the more rehearsals you got into it and the background you got into it, it makes it more comfortable for you to be believable and approachable and grab your audience's attention.
I think a lot can be said, and I don't want to draw the correlation between a speech teacher and a drama teacher, but a lot of times they're one and the same in the school. Like in our high school, way back in the days when I went to school and they still circled the wagons at night, our speech teacher was also our drama teacher, and that was Mr. Schubert. But, I think times have changed and teaching methods have changed. He was a teacher that condemned and belittled to try to get people to change their attitude and the way they address their speeches and everything. And I think for people that are nervous or people that have a personality problem, that really destroyed them. And I think the more that they do it, the more positives should be given to people for trying to stand up in front of an audience and deliver a speech.
Right. And so many of the, I have a really a great group of students this year who love to dissect speeches, and they appreciate the ones who put time and effort into it, and they understand the importance of someone who has to give a speech, and they're very proactive on giving feedback and positive feedback, and it enables them to support each other when giving a speech and know that it's not something that you just need to do at the last second, and they just think that it's the moment of frustration when people are up there giving a speech and your audience isn't paying attention. So the prep behind it and the value of knowing that you're comfortable enough to talk in front of a class gives you the ability to talk in front of, like I said before, a panel of people for a job interview or at a different function anywhere out, outside of the school. So they love that aspect. They love the fact that they can start to know the business and get relaxed and know that a speech is something that can be informational, and they just have a sense of pride behind it. So, and that's the big thing, is showing that you don't have to be a great speaker, but as long as you show pride behind it and you're proud of what you do, then that'll come across too. So
absolutely,
that's what I'm trying to implement into the students right now.
Lance, let me ask you this question, and maybe we might have a difference of opinion here. I have never in my life written down a speech. Like see the dog run up the hill to grab his bone and that type of thing. I always have used bullet points, and I'll tell you why. I love ad-libbing things. I have never read or written a commercial on my program in 20 years. I just ad-lib everything. Give me a bullet point, and I can turn it into a 5-minute commercial if I need to. That's a blessing from God. I think a lot of times by writing speeches, it diminishes eye contact, it diminishes a personality, and sometimes when they go to future prospective job employers, they don't know how to ad-lib.
Yeah, and I know you and I are right on the same page. When we do speech classes and we do creative writing, we don't totally go through the whole entire speech in its entirety, and we do the bullet points. So we take the most important parts of that you want to get through, the most important parts of your speech. But I am a firm believer in adding the personality behind the speaker and adding colorful words and images and, make it interesting for your audience. So, yeah, you and I are on the same page. It's like, you don't have to write it out because you don't want to just sit there and read a speech because that becomes dull and boring. It's like we want to show your personality and we want to show you as a person, and bullet points are perfect for that. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I haven't done a lot of speeches word for word, even script work. You have you kind of get the words down. It may not come out exactly how it was written, but as long as you get the concept out, so that's you kind of ad-lib a little bit here and there. So
absolutely,
it just adds a lot of color to your character.
And going back to your point about employment, I really want you to emphasize this because I believe in this. By ad-libbing and being able to shoot from the hip or shoot from the lip, if you will, a person can look somebody in the eye, listen to what they say. It's kind of like going into a debate. When you listen to what they say about you or ask a question of you, you can absorb it and look them in the eye and fire back. But when a person is so accustomed to using a planned speech as kind of a way of promoting what they're asking, they can't look up, and the minute they have eye contact, they go into a zone where they're scared to death.
Yeah, they deviate from what they're trying to, what they're there for. Yeah, it's huge. A lot of students are feeling that too. It's like they think they're going to go into an interview with the basic questions, and they're going to get asked something that is going to throw them off. So learning to adjust and talk from the hip and still give them a sense of pride of what you're doing and how important you are for that position, and walk into the position saying, why haven't you hired me already? And show that personality side, because a lot of employers are looking at the personality because we're living in a world where there's instant social access, and we're dealing a lot more with people.
Yeah.
And we need to be comfortable, just talking to each other, having that great FaceTime. So, yeah, I'm a firm believer in learning the process of an interview and knowing that, you're going to get a question that's, going to be maybe something you're not expecting, and you got to be able to handle that question and back it up.
Many actors, and I'm almost out of time, but I'm going to invite you back. I want to talk more about this. Too many actors and actresses that are involved in the movie business, and a lot of people, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to diminish or devalue anybody, but they're really kind of like trained chimpanzees. Go stand over there, move over here, say these words, and move back over here, and really they're trained robots for a movie, and all of a sudden, when they do a movie or a play, everybody in the audience, if they do a good enough job, they think that their IQ has gone up to the point where they're the star power, and we're going to ask them political questions. This is where I think people need to ad-lib and really share ideas instead of just going off a script or a director's review. What are your thoughts?
Right. No, my thoughts and feelings for that are exactly the same as yours. It's like the more structured you are, and I'm all about learning the basics and background of acting, and you don't have to go into Meisner and Strasberg and all the great acting teachers, but you have to be able to have that improv skill, and you have to have that ability to shoot from the hip, like we said before, and just to be genuine. And once you become genuine, you're going to have your audience is just going to be invested in whatever you have to say. Make it real, because we're tired of looking at things that are so structured that they become unbelievable. And we want to make sure that we reach out and that we understand that I'm a real person. These are the things that I believe in, and this is my character, and I want to make my character believable. So the production we're doing right now, Moon Over Buffalo, I do that with the kids. Like, you know, it is scripted here, and this is what we need to do. But if you've got a way that you want to block your character, or you want to talk about your character, or change a line and it still makes sense, I want their personalities to come out, because their personalities is what's going to read to the audience and make it more fun and believable and invested. So
absolutely.
I agree with you on that, Zeb.
Absolutely. Hey, Lance, come back soon. I want to talk to you again on this subject. Very interesting. Lance Jones, the Burley High School drama teacher, thank you for being on the program this morning.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope to talk to you soon.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. That was really interesting, and a good guy right there, Lance Jones. I appreciate him. And this, of course, Cassia County School Days, brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. Real quick, I want to remind you, mattresses, all kinds of mattresses at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. You can buy a king for the price of a queen, and a queen for the price of a full. Oh, my goodness, and save money. No money down, no interest, 12 months on approved credit. My goodness. Remember who they are. They are the best. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Well, right now, we're going to have our business salute for this week, and we are very, very blessed to have a wonderful, wonderful lady on our program, and she is Dr. Christine Pickup of Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you, Zeb?
I am fantabulous. What's going on in the world of hearing better?
Well, actually, there's some really neat technology things that are changing.
Okay.
I'm actually quite excited. There's a new device, and it's the only one on the market that does really the best hearing aids actually talk to each other, but just like yours do. The hearing aids actually work together as a system, and that's that's probably the very best way for hearing aids to work together. But now this new device also talks directly to an iPhone. It's the only one on the market that does both.
Oh, my.
And I'm really excited about how well it works and how natural the sound is.
You know, I am absolutely impressed. I have said this many, many, many times on my program with your knowledge of sound, whether it's sound of hearing through the ear or sound that's generated by an electronic source. You really understand this. And I was thinking the other day, knowing that you're going to be on the program this morning, that we're getting closer to Thanksgiving. We're getting very close to Christmas. And if people have any kind of a hearing problem and all the families getting together, they ought to call you for a hearing screening to find out what the problems are.
And I would be delighted to help them. I want people to be able to enjoy their family, and how we communicate is everything. You know, the music in the holidays, the parties with family, all of those sounds are so important to us. And when you can't hear well, people tend to withdraw, they tend to not participate, and I would hate for that to happen for anyone. I want everyone to have the best time they can with their loved ones.
Now, I have said many, many times on my program about getting a hearing screening and calling you at 312-0957, and I've had some people say, well, Zeb, does it hurt? No, I had a fun time doing it, and I giggled through most of it, didn't I?
You too. Yes, what I do generally is not painful at all. I always joke that it's way better than going to the dentist.
Oh, my goodness, by far. Well, you know, if you find a problem with their hearing, what then? What's stage 2 after that?
Well, it depends on what type of problem it is. Sometimes it necessitates referral to an ear, nose, throat specialist. Sometimes what we find is something that can be correctable by surgery or medication. Other times, for example, most typical hearing loss or even ringing in the ears, we have treatments available in my clinic. Sometimes it's hearing aids. Sometimes there's actually some great apps we can download on smartphones that help with ringing in the ears, and I'll guide you through that process and how to use them.
Okay. And also, one thing I wanted to mention before we run out of time, Dr. Pickup, is that you are the only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare practice in southern Idaho. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's something that is actually unfortunate because all the other practices around here have been bought up by corporations. And when you're owned by a corporation, you have to follow their rules. And thankfully, I am independent, which means I can work with any manufacturer. I am not limited in offering what I feel is going to be the very best for my patients. I'm not tied to one brand or one type of hearing aid. We offer all of them, and whatever is best for each individual person is what I do.
And the thing I was so impressed with is your great knowledge on sound itself. And I know that sounds like a far-reaching statement, but whether it's sound systems or the use of a microphone or the use of hearing aids or whatever, your title is really true, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And it might even be quickly on this answer that it's something that's health-related that is causing a hearing problem. Is that not right?
Absolutely. A lot of things affect our hearing. Our ears are very, very sensitive to small changes in our blood supply. So high blood pressure, high blood sugar, kidney infections, anything that would affect the blood supply can affect the ear. And sometimes that might be your first symptom of something more serious.
Now, what's the easiest way for people to go to the phone, get a hold of you, discuss the problem, and make an appointment?
Well, you just said it. Just give us a call at 208-312-0957. You're also welcome to go to our website, MountHarrisonAudiology.com. I've made it a resource, so you can go and learn a lot about how the ear works, how hearing aids work, and how sound is, transmits through the air into your ear, and how the brain uses all of that information. There's lots to learn.
And real quick, Dr. Pickup, as far as your location, explain exactly where you're located.
We are just north of the Minidoka Memorial Hospital in Rupert. So we're in the little doctor's offices just north across from the emergency room, across the parking lot there. And number 2, it's the second office on the left.
Oh, my goodness. This is a lovely lady, a very knowledgeable lady about hearing and sound. I urge everyone to contact her, Dr. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids at 312-0957. Dr. Pickup, God bless, and I'll be calling you to come over and see you next week.
You are due. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you very much. I really, really enjoy visiting with her. A very, very nice lady. Don't forget, coming up October 27th, the Senior Junction Pumpkin Function that we were talking about just a little bit ago at 2421 Overland Avenue in Burley at the Senior Junction. It is going to be great. Huge breakfast, all kinds of costume contests, the Witch's Den. It's going to be really frightfully wonderful, so be there. October 27th. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studios. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
On this program, every week, we try to have as many of the top-notch, knowledgeable people about various subjects that we can get. And it's been maybe over a year since I met this gentleman via the radio, and I absolutely like his attitude. I like his very, very upfront take on what's going on in the news, and he is pumped about what might happen in the election for Donald Trump. And I still think he thinks that Donald Trump will be the president. All that being said, we're going to introduce Dr. Gerard Francis Lamero with his book, Great News for America. Good morning, Dr. Lamero. How are you?
I am doing great, and it's always great to talk to you. You're a terrific American.
Well, God bless you, sir. And give us a little background. We haven't had you on the air for a long time. What's going on in your world?
Well, I'm on the radio constantly. I'm up to 349 shows, TV and radio, mostly in the United States, but a few of them overseas.
Oh, my goodness. So what are you doing in your spare time?
And every one of them is on the presidential election.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this. I was really enchanted with your upbeat attitude and that America is going to have great news in the future and we're going to overcome a lot of these problems. I'm going to get right to the bottom line. You honestly still believe that Donald Trump will be our next president?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Polls are like the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is about, I think, 1/9 of the whole iceberg, and you only see the tip poking out of the water. The other 8/9 are below the surface of the water, and the polls give us a little insight into what the electorate's thinking, but there are all sorts of issues with them, with the polls. I wrote an article a while back about 10 problems with the polls. Well, there's actually more now. And the other 8/9 of the information out there is sort of ignored. It isn't really publicized much, and some people don't even study it. But things like voter turnout. Somebody can say to you, I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton. Now, the question is, will they actually show up by Election Day and vote for her? Well, that's called voter intensity. What's the chances they're going to actually follow through on the poll? And that's just one of a whole bunch of variables. Well, let me tell you, Hillary Clinton's voter intensity is tissue paper thin. Anything will keep people from voting for her. Even Democrats will say, I've been voting Democrat for 20 years, but you know what? I think she's corrupt. I'm not sure I can really vote for her. And this is Democrats we're talking about. And Trump has got the opposite. Trump is like off the charts high voter intensity. When people, say they're voting for Trump, they'll go through a blizzard to vote. They'll go through a hurricane. They'll go through a rainstorm. They want to vote for Trump because they are fed up with Washington and how they're not solving our problems. So when I look at all these other variables and all these other numbers, I'm just very confident that Donald Trump is going to win this election comfortably. And, of course, the media, which is a branch of the Clinton campaign, it seems like, because they're just totally in the tank for Clinton, they'll try to tell you everything. And I told people a week ago, I said, in October, you expect at least one scandal a week coming out of the mainstream media. They're going to try to say Trump, hates women. He hates dogs. He, does all sorts of terrible things. I said, expect it. It's coming.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. They're coming up with today they got a few new women they found to say that he touched them or something. Well, you know what? Back in 2012, Harry Reid said that he heard Mitt Romney never paid income tax. Well, that was a phony story. And afterwards he even said, well, it wasn't true, but at least Romney lost.
Yeah, Dr. Lamero, you bring up...
I'm saying, despite all of this pressure by the mainstream media to elect Hillary Clinton, and despite all of that, the people want changes in Washington, and she is the establishment big time, and she's got all sorts of issues with corruption and...
Yeah.
Scandals, potential corruption, potential scandals, whatever. And Trump is offering conservative change, build up the military, close the border on the South, have economic tax cuts to help the middle class, on and on and on. So he's conservative, she's a socialist, she's losing.
Dr. Lamero, I'd like you to elaborate on this, and I might take a little time explaining my question to you. I have seen nothing but kind of a coercion, if you will, with the Republican Party. At first, when they found out that Trump was going to run for president, they were so afraid that he would start an independent run on the presidency. They had him sign a pledge to remain faithful and do basically what the Republican Party wanted them to do. He did, and they have backed water on him and, quite frankly, ran into the woods like scared rabbits. The Republican Party, in my opinion, has shot themselves in the foot for future voting because of their lack of backbone standing behind Trump. What are your thoughts?
Well, in my book, Great News for America, one of my 10 predictions, which, by the way, all of them are coming true, One of my 10 predictions was the end of the Republican Party as we know it. And it is falling apart. The Republican Party is going to be finished with this election. The leaders of the Republican Party, like the Bushes, Bush 41, Bush 43, Jeb Bush, John Kasich, on and on and on, they didn't even show up for their convention. They're not part of the Republican Party because the Republican Party has left them. And I think Paul Ryan and these people who just all hurried up and jumped ship, over one particular tape that was released from 11 years ago, I think they wanted to try to somehow get back in control of the Republican Party, and I think they want Trump to lose. But you know what? They are out of touch with the American voter. The American voter wants the problems solved that they want solved in Washington. And if the Republican Party isn't going to do it for them, that's fine. They'll go off. And what happens with parties, if you look at the history of the United States, every so often a party goes away or it changes big time. That's what's happening this year. You don't hear about the Whigs anymore. They left around 1830. They went out of business. The Republican Party, as we know it, is ending this year. Trump is doing it. Trump is taking over the party because he's now the head of the party. He's the presidential nominee. He's going to become the president. He'll appoint all of his people. And the other people, they'll eventually retire from Congress, and they'll be replaced by conservatives.
How concerned are you, sir, about the educated, underline that word, American voter? I look at what's going on with the millennials. I look at how they're being taught by very liberal professors. I look at their platforms. I look at the Democrats with abortion. I look at the Democrats with higher taxes. What about the American voter? Are they able to see through this and make a right vote when it comes to the polls in November 8th?
Absolutely. The American people are smart because they've got common sense. Right now, the mainstream media is not believed by the American people. So all these, throwing these crazy stories out about Trump and everything else and doing everything they can, everything imaginable. I saw something on one of the news networks where they had the picture of Hillary and the picture of Trump, and they had this, smiley, happy picture of Hillary. Next, they had this frowning, ugly picture of Trump. I mean, their bias is so obvious to everybody. It's no longer hidden. They are out in the open about who they support and how they're in cahoots with the Clinton campaign. Like, for example, we know about this Donna Brazile, the chairwoman of the Democratic National Committee, giving questions for a debate to the campaign, things like that. That happened a while ago, but still, the point is that the American people are onto it. And that's why one of my predictions was the end of the mainstream media's influence on the presidential election. They are trying with all their might to keep their power in controlling the American voters' minds, and they are not doing it. They are failing. And the final thing will be when Trump wins on November 8th, and they'll say, gee, I don't understand. I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
These polls, she was ahead. They won't be able to understand it. That's because they've been lying to themselves all along.
Okay, now that leads me into another question, and that is a honest election. Do you believe, and I've got a lot of doubts here, that the Democrats and the Clinton machine will allow Trump to win through an honest election? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think voter fraud has been here for a while, and it's going on. We see stories already of people who are voting that have been dead. Somebody talked to me yesterday on the radio and talked about how their relatives voted Republican in every election for the last, 40 years. And they said, but this year they voted Democrat and they're dead. Apparently, somebody stole their vote somehow. And so, I guess people are turning those kind of situations into the authorities. But yes, I expect there to be voter fraud. I expect most of it to be on the Democratic side. I'm not saying it's necessarily coming from the Clinton campaign directly. There are a lot of people who support them that might be doing funny things. But you know what? I figured the percentage of that is not going to be big enough to matter because there's so many Americans who are angry who are voting, and they're voting for Trump.
What about
the new voters coming into the system, the upset voters who don't always vote and are voting this year? All of them are much larger than the number of votes getting stolen.
Let me ask you this question, and I really value your opinion on this. Hillary, a couple of weeks back, made a statement that I thought would hurt her severely, and it didn't seem to damage her in the polls that much. When she called us, the other side, the Trump supporters or the supporters of the Republican Party, deplorables. And how is she, if she is elected, how would she ever overcome that statement and try to unify America?
I don't think she cares about unifying America. If she were to become president, I think she'd go off on her merry little socialist ways, doing the things that Obama did and just continuing his policies, socialist policies, and continue to ruin our stature in the world and cut our military and let all sorts of immigrants come into this country. But let me tell you this, it did matter what she said. And if you look at the polls as I do and look at the underlying numbers, she's had a couple of bumps. She did a little well around the Democratic National Convention, and she did a little well at after the first debate because Trump didn't really hit her too hard. He was a real nice guy that time. But overall, every time she starts doing a little well in the polls, she starts dropping. She was dropping the Friday before this last debate, and that's when they released the tape about Trump and that, and they played it over and over and over again on the weekend before the debate on purpose. And then she started changing the polls, and I even saw one poll where they said something like, assuming you've seen the tape on Trump groping women, does that change your mind about if you're voting for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? And, of course, what do the polls say? When people get that kind of question, they think, oh, what did he do? What did I miss in the poll? I didn't see that tape. I guess it was terrible. And so they say, oh, Clinton. Surprise. So those are called push polls.
Yeah.
But at any rate, bottom line, I don't think she'll try to unify the country if she's elected, but I don't think she's going to get elected. I think Trump is going to coast in with an easy victory.
Let me ask you this part of it.
Everybody's going to be surprised in the mainstream media.
I hope so. Let me ask you this part of this very, very different political campaign season. In my life, I've never seen anything like this. What about the drawing in by the Democrats to create the feeling that the Russians are going to be in control of the final outcome?
Well, I don't buy that at all. And as far as that, I think it's just, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to find something to take on Trump with. Because, see, on the main issues, which is global terrorism and the border, plus the economy, people having a hard time, incomes dropping, jobs, a lot of people out of work. And even though the unemployment rate is supposed to be low, there's 94 million Americans out of work, working age, who could be having a job if they could find one. So I think all those things are just, like red herrings that are thrown out there by the media and by Clinton campaign trying to take on Trump. He said one nice thing about Putin. He said Putin's a leader. He's more of a leader than Obama. And, of course, that's true. Putin is a leader, maybe a dictator, but he leads his country. And Obama sort of just pushes off his responsibilities and plays golf a lot and ignores a lot of problems. So I think the criticism was valid, but they try to turn that into something real negative about, Trump and about whether or not he supports Putin and whether Putin's going to have an input to the campaign. I think that's baloney.
One last thought, Doctor, and I want you to elaborate just a little bit. I got about 2 minutes left on the Supreme Court and possible nominees. We are looking at an 8-person Supreme Court right now and a lot of big issues coming up. Whoever is the president is going to be able to change that Supreme Court for a long time to come. Give us your opinion.
Well, I think that actually is one of the biggest reasons that a conservative needs to be elected this time around. Because right now, you're right, there are 8 members of the Supreme Court that are sitting, and they're roughly split liberal, conservative, 4-4, roughly. And one vacancy, and likely the next president will appoint 4 people, because some of them are reaching the age where they just pretty much have to retire in their 80s. And so he or she is going to have to appoint 4 people. Donald Trump has put out a list of 11 rock-solid constitutional conservatives who follow the Constitution and believe in following the rule of law and order. And that would make for a Supreme Court that's great. The typical Supreme Court justice his office around in their 80s. Okay, so the people that get appointed in this next administration and that are going to be around until the year 2050, probably. Now, 2050, that means what? 2 generations of conservatives versus Hillary, is going to appoint people like Ginsburg and some of those kind of people who are progressive socialists. I mean, this country will be totally different based on the Supreme Court nominees of the next president. That's why it's vitally important that people consider this an important election, because it's going to matter. It's going to matter on our Second Amendment gun rights. It's going to matter on religious liberty. It's going to matter on all sorts of issues, because we know that the socialists have just a whole different world vision where they think the government needs to be big and micromanage every person. And the people like you and me who believe in freedom and thinking Americans should have individual rights and freedoms that are not taken away by the government, we see it totally different than those socialists do.
The man has a book that is absolutely a must-read. I'm holding a copy of it that he sent me in my hand. Great News for America. The subtitle, The Constitution, Freedom, and Prosperity Are Coming Back. Dr. Gerard Lamero. I consider him a friend. We've never met, but I absolutely appreciate him being on the program. God bless you, sir, and I will be in touch very soon. You can count on that.
Great. Well, God bless you, and I wish the very best to all your listeners, too.
Thank you, Dr. Lamero. I appreciate it. Great News for America, and written by Dr. Gerard Lamero. Everything in his book really got me pumped up because, man, I believe in all of his concepts. It is a great book. Holy cow, I got to get the weather forecast here. And the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. You betcha. They're changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh my goodness, your hometown meat cutter, locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew, the meats are absolutely delicious. Thank you, Scarrow's Meats. Bringing you the weather, here's Gina.
Here's your weather forecast as we saddle up for another day. And today's going to be all right. Tomorrow and for the weekend, not so much. Here's your weather forecast for today. Looks like mostly cloudy skies. High of 70. We are expecting an overnight low of 51. Now, tomorrow the winds are going to be picking up to about 16 miles an hour out of the southwest. Afternoon rain showers expected for tomorrow, about a 70% chance. High at 57 with an overnight low of 46. For Saturday, it's going to be cloudy, still on the windy side. High of 61, overnight low of 48. Sunday and Monday, rain showers. Plus, it is going to be windy. We've got a storm front moving in. Highs are going to be in the low to mid-50s for Sunday and Monday. Yesterday's high was 61. The overnight low was 29. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Appreciate that, Gina. Thank you. Scarrow's Meats bringing you the weather this hour. 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, Don and the rest of the crew, 324-7657. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, I've only got a short time. Real quick, go ahead. You're on the air.
Okay, real quick, Zeb. I had an occasion yesterday to call our Senator Crapo, and I chatted with him about his withdrawing his endorsement for Donald Trump, and I told him he needed to get on this program and explain himself, which they wouldn't acknowledge. But anyway, to make it real short, they said that there was other things he did with Carla Purina earlier when he was starting this thing, and I told him that he knew that going in because he endorsed Trump before all of that happened, and then he withdrew his nomination before the debate even started. And anyway, all she wanted to do was kind of argue with me. So I'll just leave that where it's at. And I reminded her that he is working for us and not himself.
You know, that's very well.
Sounded more like the establishment all the time.
I very much appreciate your remarks, and I will tell you that I am supposed to have him on the program this next Wednesday, according to his liaison in Boise, Lindsey Northern. And Monday, I'll be sure and let everybody know whether or not Mike is scheduled and is going to be on the air, because I have some very direct questions. I will say this to you, sir. I have been very fair. I've been very honest and friendly with Mike, having him on the program, but he needs to answer the questions and be very blunt before his reelection, if there is to be one. So thank you very much for your call.
I told him I was very disappointed in the way he did this, and he ought to reconsider.
All right, sir. God bless you for that information. Thank you very, very much. I do thank you. I am going to try to have him on the air this next week, and there are many questions and twists of the circumstances that I want to ask him about, so you be listening this next week. Don't forget a big fall tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best of tires, always with the best of tires, for your safe driving. And they have on sale right now tires like the Ultra Z900 for your passenger cars, all-season tread, up to a 65 to 80,000 mile warranty depending upon your driving conditions. Holy cow! And the best tire value promise in the industry, with the best brake value promise in the industry, and the best of shocks and struts and front end alignments, and of course batteries. But above all, and I say this all the time, the best in service. They really care and take care of you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, and I mean that, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you, all of you, for an outstanding week of calls and everything. And I want to remind you, next week, you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. We're going to have quite a load of different political commercials on the program. We're going to do the best we can. I know you'll show me your patience, and we appreciate all your calls. Zeb at the Ranch for this week. We're all done for this week, and we'll say good morning to you next Monday at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch reminding you the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless.